The good, the bad, the ugly, the hurtful. Whatever it is, my response is gratitude because it grounds me in the truth of who Christ is. So here we have it. We as Methodists, we have something that the world out there desperately needs. We've got something awesome. And that is, we have the means of the grace of gratitude. So how do you cultivate gratitude in your life? Especially when it feels like the last thing you feel is grateful. The last thing that comes to your mind is saying thank you to God. We'll turn to John Wesley for a second. This third mark of what it means to be a Methodist. He, in his consistency, in his sincerity, helps us to be as methodical as he was in developing the habit of being grateful. Being methodical in a grateful response that shapes all of our responses to every single day's ups and downs. You know people in your life, and a lot of bad things happen to them. They wrestle with a tough diagnosis. They have things that happen to them in their family, and you just shake your head and you wonder, how do they do that? How do they keep a smile on their face? How do they keep joy, a song on their lips and a spring in their step? How is it that they're not just laid out on the couch with no energy, feeling completely bereft? We know people like that. I know people in this church, Methodists, who are not in a fetal position when life throws them a curveball. You know people who, no matter what is going on, they exude love and patience. Now, when you turn on the television or the car radio, you and I hear each day the rhetoric that becomes increasingly polarizing, separating and dividing us from one another. And it can really test your patience, even your sanity, when something is being called fake, and that's not true, and that's false. You don't know what's true from what is. After a while, how do you ferret out truth in all of this vitriol and accusations? And that's what we hear. We have this regular diet of such negative news all the time. Well, we're Methodists. That means that we know the cure. We know the response. That Christ is the cure for whatever ails this world. And gratitude secures it. So in turbulent times, what do? You and I, in these turbulent days, whether it's political, whether it's an actual physical hurricane that has taken already 13 lives and destroyed untold property, and people are going to be displaced for a while, that's a huge, huge thing to look at. And so all the stuff that swirls around us, you and I, in a very real, concrete, tangible way, can exhale the fruits of the Spirit, and we can be the change that we want to see in the world. We can allow God to be invited into our messiness, into the brokenness of our situation, and create something beautiful in its stead. You know what? There's a lot of beauty in this world. There's a lot of goodness in this world. James has now found country music. Now, I am not a country music fan at all, but he's got 92.5 on our radio all the time. Makes me insane. But there is one song There is one song, and it's his favorite song, and he belts it out at the top of his lungs. I don't know who the singer is, but he's singing, "I believe that all people are good." It's such an upbeat song, and it's so positive on the spin in which this singer looks at the world and what people are at root, at core. We live in a beautiful world that's full of goodness. So then, we have to be the very best Methodists, the most methodical disciples we can be in the world right now, because that's how we are beacons of healing and hope. And so this week, what I'd like to invite you to do is to begin to cultivate in yourself the art, it's not a science, the art of gratitude by asking yourself 3 questions. Now, this week, I saw this in a church I visited once, and I made a little thing, I put it in the insert, sermon notes, and I thought, you know, if something ever strikes you, something you don't want to forget, you can jot it down. And of course, you can always listen on the website because I record it. But there are 3 questions that if you have a pen or a pencil in your pew, I'd love for you to write them down. And I have, if you don't have them now, I'll get them to you later. But I would like you to ask yourself these 3 questions at the end of a day, before you turn the light out and go to sleep. And practice these questions. And I rewrote them. These are John Wesley's questions. These are the questions that he asked himself each day and he journaled about. Now, I took his 18th century high Anglican language and put it into our own. Because when you read them, it's hard to understand what he's actually asking you to do. So here it is. What blessings have I received today? So before you go to sleep, think about, what blessings did I receive today? It could be a kind word from a coworker. It could have been, I had a great cup of coffee this morning. Doesn't have to be huge, doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be magnanimous. Just what blessings. And whatever comes to mind, jot them down. Jot all the blessings down. And start to think about that and reflect on all of those blessings. And then second, what details of the day did God weave together? How did God make sure that those blessings